Hey pretty ladies, so today I'm going to be showing you how I do airbrush makeup using the TEMPTU Signature Starter Kit. It comes with everything you need to get started, including a foundation, a blush, and a highlighting AIRpod. So let's get started getting the airbrush makeup on. First thing first is getting the hair out of your way. So I have my machine plugged in over here. I'm going to prime my skin real quick with my Studio Gear Prime Objective Primer. This just gives like a nice smooth base for the airbrush makeup to sit on top of. I'm going to pick up the foundation pod and it looks like that. You saw this in the intro, and give it a good shaken up. Mix it all up so it's not all settled down in the bottom. Then I'm going to pump the little top and pull off the plug. Snap it into the wand and turn it down to a pretty low setting. I keep it about 12 o'clock for the foundation and turn it on. Now this sounds kind of like a fish tank, so I may fast forward through this part. Alright, so I'm going to turn it on and get going. There's just going to be air coming out. It is just air right now. And when I pull back on the trigger here, that is when it's going to release the product. As you can see, I'll do like a little... My hand's a little bit darker than my face, so you can probably see a little bit of the foundation coming off there. It's kind of cool, right? And again, like right now, it's just the air. So I keep it on the low setting so it's not like spluting out like a ton of product at once. And I really want like a nice even coverage, so I'm doing these smaller circles while pulling back a little bit on the trigger here. I also want to keep the wand about 4 inches or your palm's width away from your face. Sometimes I do a little bit more, but I really don't go any closer than that. And I'm just going to go over the face once in like a full coverage, like not concentrating too much on one area, just so there's a nice base. Weeks now, so I've gotten to play around with it a bit, and I can kind of do it with my eyes closed because I know where, and you feel the air, so you know where it's going, which might sound a little or look a little bit weird like if I close my eyes, but my eyes get so watery from the air, so I usually just end up closing them. Pulling back just like a little bit like that, until I could hear that it's like making like a raspy sound, and that's how I know and see the product coming out. That makes sense. I'm just doing these circles, try not to stay in one spot for too long. Just doing that once over has really covered up a lot of my spots. I do have a couple of acne marks sticking out a little bit, so what I do is turn it down just a little bit more on the motor here. And then I make just really small, keeping it still, again, pretty far out, small circles over the areas where I want a little more coverage. Really only pulling back on this trigger just ever so slightly, just enough so a little bit of product comes out. The one thing I will say about the foundation, it has a little bit of a scent to it. It's kind of like a fancy makeup smell. Like I remember smelling a Estee Lauder kind of foundation, and this for some reason kind of smells like that to me. Like it doesn't smell like paint or anything. And I want to be careful not to get it in the hair because it'll just ghost it all out. Really funny looking. Let's see if I can get these spots on my forehead. I'm trying to turn so you guys can like see it, so I'm not like, because I'll usually just go. Now I'm going to turn the motor up a little bit more, and I'm not going to pull back on the trigger. I'm just going to let that faster air dry and set the foundation that's already on my skin. That way I can see where I need a little bit more coverage. So this is just air coming out now. Now you're not going to want to touch your skin while it's setting because it'll just remove it right away. If you do get a little bit of a heavy area, I suggest taking a wet or really a damp beauty blender and just lightly tapping on those areas. I might have to do a little bit right here. It looks a little bit too saturated, so I might have to go grab my beauty blender. So I can see a couple of spots that I need to, like my chin and like right over here on my inner brow, that I need to hit up with a couple more shots of color. So I'm going to turn it back down again and go ahead and do that. Look at my eyes watering. They always get so watery from the air. Do a little bit on my eyelid, just so there's a little bit of a base for my shadow later. And making sure I blend it, like get down in here, you know, so I don't have that really stark line of demarcation, although the color is pretty dead on to my skin tone. Now I don't do too much under my eyes. I kind of wait for the whole foundation to set and then I'll go in with regular concealer. Because if I've tried it going under with this and it just doesn't do too much for me. I need something that's like a hair lighter. So if I was going to order another shade, I would probably get one in this shade for my whole face and then a lighter shade for under my eyes. So I just like to take a lightly damped beauty blender and kind of pat that onto the skin in any areas that might have a little too much product. And it just kind of like evens it out and rubs all that. And you just push the button, pull the pod out, make sure you put the plug back in the top and place it back in the stand. Then we're ready to move on to our blush and highlight, which is the exact same steps. I keep it on a very low setting and just do small circular movements in the areas that I want it to show up. Now the blush is very pigmented, so do it in very slow, very quick at the same time movements, and it'll come out really nice and evenly. The finished look here. I didn't add anything else to my face, just put a little bit of lip balm on and finished up my eyes and all that. So it gives me really great coverage. The blush stays on just as long as the foundation does. All of my spots are covered up. I really love the silicone base to this foundation because it makes it like a sweat-proof, waterproof kind of finish. It is a little bit of a dewier finish, so I usually just let it sit on there, finish up the rest of my makeup, and then kind of use a light powder all over. I can go ahead and do that now. I'm using my Sedona Lace Tulip brush in FB03, and then just a light powder, almost not foundation, like powder, and just kind of like patting it onto the skin to set it all in. I've even gone to like wash my face off at night and like splash the water on it first and then, you know, go to put my soap on, and when I splash the water on, nothing moves. It literally is cemented on my skin. I absolutely love this stuff. There you go. It takes a little bit of that shine away. So let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to stay up to date to my new videos. Check out my blog at sparklemepink.com. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I love talking to you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.